So just to get you started, I got a text from my mum this morning that I'm going to share.
Please.
All right.
I got a text from her as well, actually.
Yeah.
I should speak so. So I sent her a photo of the setup last night because I was talking to her on the phone when I was here, and then said I'd send her a photo. So I did. And this is the text I got from her this morning.
Oh, okay. So producer Lincoln's mum said, that's a lot of equipment. I just watched Ishan's YouTube video, How I Got Here. I really enjoyed it. Love how he starts with, okay, you need to watch this all the way through. And I love his quote, you need to be delusional. That's actually a really sweet text from your mum.
Yeah.
She's locked in on Ishan. She's following the live streams.
Oh, wow. I need to
Got a fan.
I need to be
Mum and
more
Dad watched the first
appropriate.
podcast.
It's,
They're in. No, she loves it.
that's amazing. Thank you, Mama Dummit.
Yep.
That's a
Mama damn it.
thank you very much for that. That's very kind. I really like that. Well, that's a great start to this podcast. What are we going to speak about today? I'm back in Melbourne.
I mean, I think Ed and I want to hear about your Dubai trip. Clearly.
How long has it been since the last? It's been like 10 days.
Since the last time, did you guys see each other or no?
I can't remember. Maybe.
No.
So you guys
I
aren't
don't think
friends
so.
off
Yeah.
the
Yeah,
camera.
we're not.
No,
I don't like that guy.
Yeah.
Well, yes, I went to Dubai, for my work, travel quite a bit, go to some weird places. Dubai is one of them. And it was a very weird week. I've got a few stories. The first one being that as soon as we landed there, it flooded.
Right. Okay,
Did you guys see this on the news?
Yeah, it looked fucked.
Yeah.
It was really bad. So Dubai hasn't flooded in 75 years.
Wow.
So I don't know, maybe we've got like a little curse, us going and it immediately flooding. It comes from cloud seeding. Have you guys heard about that?
Yeah, I have. Yeah.
Do you know what that is, Ed? Cloud seeding?
Yeah.
For people that don't know, cloud seeding is like they're trying to manufacture rain.
Yeah.
So look it up on YouTube to see the particular sciences behind it. But I'm pretty sure that's why it happened. And they just didn't have the infrastructure to like handle all this flooding. So they don't have the pipes, the drainage. So everything fucking flooded. We went to Dubai Mall because one of our friends wanted to buy a Rolex. And and we went there and it started flooding there. So all the designer stores were on the first floor. So all the rich people, they're like dying first, which is like
Backwards Titanic.
Yep.
yeah. And so we're like, okay, the stores are flooding. There's water coming out. That's not really like normal. And then we're like, maybe we should get out of here. But once we started to get out of like the shopping complex, there's lines and lines of people trying to get a cab or an Uber for hours. And we just couldn't get out
How
that way.
flooded was it? Like, were your feet in the water?
I'd say your feet was in the water. There was
everywhere.
Yeah, almost like on the first floor. Yes, everywhere.
Fucking hell.
And so there was people taking photos of this all, and there'll be security guards going like, "Hey, delete that off your phone. Delete that off your phone." Yeah, because I guess they don't want to showcase that Dubai has any flaws at all.
It's got no flaws.
Yeah, so we couldn't get out of the shopping center by getting a cab or a taxi. So we just started walking. And one of the co-founders of Shuffle, he has a place near Dubai Mall. So we're like, all right, let's go there and hang out there for a bit. And like he's got a really cool like penthouse. So we're thinking we're going to be safe there. We get up there and it's fucking hellish up there. It's like the ceiling's leaking. There's a room that's completely flooded. They had to like develop a contraction to like drain out. There's like this hot tub area that was like leaking, and the entire place was like, it was not okay. And this is on the very top floor of this very tall building.
Wow.
So we weren't even safe there. It had a good view of all like the highways of Dubai. And actually, Lincoln, I've sent you some photos. We can just go through some of these photos. That's the shopping center.
Yep.
So you can see it's like feet wet,
Yep.
feet
Whoa.
high. Yeah. So this is from his apartment. Can you zoom in, Lincoln, on
I was
the?
gonna say, what are we looking at?
So
Graphic?
look at that. Look at that. A lot of those cars are abandoned. So it literally looks like a
a
zombie
yeah.
apocalypse.
Whoa.
And this entire trip felt very apocalyptic.
Right.
And so just like to give you a picture, so we're at his penthouse and we're thinking some of the guys are like, we might just like sleep here tonight because there's no taxis or Ubers available. And we are at this point 6 hours away by walking distance from our hotel.
Whoa. I didn't know Dubai was that big.
Yeah, it's a pretty big place. So Jay,
And it's also not a place that is
Stand
really
it.
designed for walking as well, right? Like,
no, it is. It's not a walkable city
No.
at all.
I heard they air condition the streets. Like there's like vents,
Where did you hear that from?
like vents that come out from under the street apparently on certain streets that cool the air, which sounds insane.
and underneath the vents, it's just like little men
Yeah.
waving their hands.
Yeah.
Dubai really got it like that. No, it's there's no. I kind of thought that too when I first went there last year, but no, it's a very hot city. It's not walkable at all. You have to like drive everywhere. And so yeah, so half the guys were like, let's just sleep and stay here. The other half, which included me, were like, fuck it, let's have an adventure tonight. Let's walk all the way back to the hotel. So remember, this is a 6-hour trek during the most insane flood that this country has ever seen.
Yep.
And so we start off just regular walking through floodwaters and getting through streets. And this is one of the photos of like, this is not that bad of a photo, but it is definitely like flooding a lot worse in most places that we're walking. And we're just getting through it. 1 hour is in and we're getting a little bit tired already. And this whole entire time, there's people like screaming, running. The streets are super busy because everyone has to walk. I don't have any photos of the really busy city streets, but yeah, it's getting a bit too hectic. So we're like, what else can we do? We see this bus that was out of service and a bus driver just sitting in it, just kind of chilling. And we go up to him and, we're thinking we have a plan here where we could probably bribe this bus driver. And Lincoln, if you want to go through the photos and find this, this is one of them. We get on this bus and we're like 2,000 dirhams and take us as close as you can.
How much is that in US dollars?
US dollars, that's like what, $500?
Okay.
That's a pretty good.
That's
little
a
deal,
pretty
yeah.
good
I feel
offer.
like you could have started a bit lower.
But by the way, like, so he was like, I can only take you across the bridge. Across the bridge is maybe 2 minutes in the bus, but that's going to save us like an hour of walking across because you have to go through, since streets are flooded, pathways are flooded, it would have taken us an hour to get over that bridge. So we're like,
3 of you, it's like $150.
Yeah.
Is that his like route, his normal route, and he's just like not taking it, or
yeah,
is he actually going out?
Well,
of his
he didn't
way?
want to. A lot of people were scared to even bus drivers were scared to drive during this flooding.
Yep.
So he was taking a risk here. But I'll tell you in a second why I have faith in the Dubai people. And Dubai people, I love Dubai people. I don't like Dubai, but I love the Dubai people. But so we go on the bus. He's taking us over this bridge. We're like, oh my God, this is going to save us like an hour of walking. And then bridge ends. He's like, all right, you guys have to get out. And we're like, we've got the cash to give him money. He's like, no. He's like, no, brother. Like, yeah, you keep your money.
Wow.
We're all like, whoa, okay. That was like a very nice, heartfelt thing. We do that. We're now like, 2 hours in. We're walking. We walk for another hour or so until we're trying to find like another shortcut. And we come across these uni guys in, I think it was like a massive Jeep. It was a car that could withstand flooding. And it was a full car.
And uni guys being what, university?
Yeah, university kids that were like definitely younger than us. And this is one of the photos. So they let us in. They were like, come in, brother, come in. And you can see one of the guys, he literally just hops up from his seat and sits on like the dash to let us all in. And it's just like lovely people. And they also will like take us as far as you can. And they're like, we'll take you, as close as possible. We're going to have to do a turn that will go in the opposite direction at some point. We'll have to let you out there. But so we're in this car with them and they speak Arabic and a little bit of English. But we're having a good time. We're playing like Arabic music and, we're laughing, we're exchanging stories and getting to know them. At one point, and this is the video, don't play it yet. At one point, one of the driver is just driving. He's not talking. The guy that was on the dash, he's providing the navigation and speaks English. But the driver does a turn at one point and he goes down a road that's very flooded. And you should not, cars do not would not drive through. And immediately we noticed something was wrong because the guy on the dash started like screaming in Arabic, like basically saying, I speak a little bit of Arabic. He basically was saying like, what the fuck? Not this road, not this road. No. And I was like, oh, are we going to die here? Like, what's going on? Yeah, am I going to have to like start learning how to swim? Like this is insane. So if you play this video link in, this is up the street. There were abandoned cars on the street here. So like people just left their cars here. Like you couldn't,
Whoa.
It was a really bad street that you shouldn't drive in. It was pretty crazy. And so they luckily had some skills in driving and managed to do a U-turn and get us out of there. But these were like, strangers, and they didn't ask. We wanted to compensate them. They didn't want any money. I actually think they were like pretty wealthy kids.
Yeah.
So I think it was fine. But so then they took us to a spot. And I think at this point where, do you hear like the Arabic music? Like this is.
Oh shit! It's like driving through a fucking lake.
Yeah. This was scary. And that's not the worst of it, but we got to a certain point, we got off. At this point, we're probably still 2 hours by walking distance away from the hotel.
And were you guys drunk, by the way, or anything?
No, we're completely sober. Completely
okay.
sober. It's feet water.
Yep.
That's the type of, for most of the streets. For some of the streets, you'd have to literally swim.
Right.
So this was like the entire city, and it just felt, I don't know, it was very cold, and Dubai's a very hot place, but I just mean cold as in like emotionally cold. Like everyone was like fending for themselves. It was a little bit of PvP. And an hour or two goes by, we keep walking, and then we finally see a taxi that like you'd see taxis driving past, but they wouldn't pick up anyone.
Right.
But as soon as we saw a taxi, we were like waving our hands, jumping up and down, screaming. And one of the guys, they pulled over to the side. We ran, and we finally got to this taxi, and we thought, okay, finally this guy's gonna take us to the hotel. Even this time, he was like, I can only take you, as close as I can, and then you'll have to walk the rest. But luckily, this was the taxi driver that got us in. We did pay him, but
How much? A lot?
I forget how much it was. Maybe it was like $100 US.
Yeah.
And he got us basically to the hotel. We just had 20 minutes to go. But that was like it was supposed to be a 6-hour walk. We did it in 4 hours because we had a few shortcuts. But the people of Dubai are so nice and friendly, and like the common people are so lovely. So that was like a crazy night in Dubai. I'm trying to think of there's some other nights that I can't really.
But how does that
about.
even happen? Like the cloud seeding, like they just seed it too much, and then
I think that's
surely
what
they have that figured out, right?
So this is actually I'm no weather expert, but I think this is good for Dubai. If it rained that much because of the cloud seeding, that means Dubai could, if they can control it, Dubai could be green.
Turn it into a green paradise.
Yeah, into a green paradise. That's what we're talking
insane.
about.
Arrakis.
Which would be, exactly. It'd be incredible. Like there's some other stuff I can't really talk about on some of the nights. I'll tell you guys off camera.
Yep.
But in general, it's like Dubai is a wild, like maybe we talk a little bit just about Dubai itself. Like it's a wild place. It's an artificial city. Like it was only like founded or started like 50 years ago. So you go there and you see all these like tall ass buildings, and just like all the cars and all the wealth there. And you're like, it just feels very like artificial.
Built by slaves as well.
Yes, that should be highlighted. And so, it's at times it was kind of weird because we were going to certain events and places where, there was like billionaire CEOs and you're meeting members of the royal family. Particularly when I went to the polo club. It was like...
Wait, polo?
We went to like this polo equestrian like event.
Right.
And it was only like, it was a pretty expensive event.
So it wasn't horse racing. It was like...
that like...
Whacking.
Yeah, whacking.
Oh, this is gonna make this is gonna be. I don't really want to talk about this, but there was a horse that got injured very badly, they had an ambulance rock up.
Horse ambulance.
Well, yes, a horse ambulance. They had an ambulance rock up, and it wasn't covering the horse. And then I think it was really bad because they moved the car to go in front of the horse.
And then you heard boom.
I didn't hear a shot, but it honestly is. I don't promote. We went because we had some business interests there, but. I I don't promote that type of
Surely
sport.
they don't shoot them these days. They've got to have some kind of like little injection.
Yeah, like a tranquilizer type thing. But like, no, it is surreal. Like we're, I went with some of the Shuffle team, and we're all kind of like young dudes doing this business, and now we're in a room with like members of the royal family and these billionaire types, and we're talking to them, and it's some of the numbers they're talking about like just doesn't compute.
Like business wise.
Yeah, just business wise, and Dubai in general is pretty crazy. On a kind of side note though, relating to Dubai, and what made me feel so depressed coming back, and I felt this last time when I went to Dubai is, and maybe producer Lincoln, we were talking about this yesterday. I just feel like a lot of like rich people are losers. And especially, I mean, I don't want to like single
Anyone
out
you want to
Dubai.
call out? Like,
No, I don't want to call them out, but there's just like they center everything around money, like their entire personality.
Yeah.
And like I'm guilty of that at times, and I think I struggle with that. But like
I think we all are.
I think it's exemplified a lot in places like Dubai, and especially we went because there was a crypto event on, and
the worst of them all.
Like crypto, like I hate the industry I work. I hate crypto people so much. They're the worst type of people. They're so like self-indulgent, and they love hearing themselves talk, and they think what they're doing is changing the world, and when in reality, like what they're value extractors, and they're not really. They're just sucking value out. Like Voldemort in like Deathly Hallows, where he's like a little baby towards the end, and Harry's like they would look at that helpless, like they would look at a helpless toddler and like just think about how they could suck any like value.
How do we turn
out
this
of
into
it.
a business? Yeah.
So yeah, that's not to say I love what we're doing at Shuffle. I love the team and the opportunity and stuff like that. Just I'm talking about the broader industry of crypto.
Sure.
I don't really view Shuffle as a crypto thing first, but I don't know. It's just
I felt that as well.
crazy.
Like partying with rich people, that doesn't mean if you're paying for bottle service, if you're in the most expensive club, if you're all wearing Rolexes, it doesn't mean you're actually gonna have fun. Like you can have fun at like a shitty bar with like not rich people, and it's like completely. But the crypto bit, it's like I'm only hanging out with rich people, and we're actually just gonna sit around on our phones the whole time.
Yeah, it's like a mix of cringe and a mix of like just I don't know. It's very loserish.
Do you think a lot of those people are like truly happy or no?
No, I think for a bulk of them, no, because they're still chasing something. And I've kind of thought about this. I'm sure you guys have, but maybe we're not doing the thing we would want to be doing. We're making a trade-off because we're looking to secure some wealth. Like in my mind, I'm like, I need 50 liquids so I can take care of my family and my future wife and my our future kids and stuff
then
like
you go
that.
live on a fucking beach somewhere, And
that's like, but that's like a trap in your mind.
Yeah.
That I know it's a trap, but I try to find like the happy balance of try to do something that can unlock that, but you also enjoy at the same time.
Yeah.
But I think for a lot of these people, it's like they're not upfront with like what they're really doing. Like in crypto, like a lot of the things you're working on, you're not changing the world. Like you're just trying to make some money.
Yep.
And they're not very transparent around that. So I don't know. That was kind of my thoughts on my Dubai trip in Dubai and the people there. Would you guys? So a lot of people move there because it's zero taxes,
Right.
Which sounds very appealing to a lot of people, and that's why. But I think the worst type of person hears that and wants to move there. Am I like correct or incorrect?
I feel like it's a very Instagrammy. Like I think Dubai itself is actually paying for Instagram influencers to go and visit and like do the deep dive thing. There's a couple of things you see everyone go and do.
Yeah.
And then
ride a camel. And
ride a camel, Burj Khalifa, like all that stuff.
Sideways 4-wheel drive.
Yeah, literally. And it makes it look like a place you want to be. And then you go there and you're like, oh, that's all there is. Like there's this like fucking snowboarding place in a mall, and then everything's in a mall, air conditioned place, and then it's pretty I don't know, rough around the edges, I feel.
Yeah.
You've been there, Ed? 'Cause I've
Yeah, I've
never
got
been.
family there.
Oh, right.
Oh, okay.
You know what I've been...
I've been like shitting on Dubai. Your family.
I hate it there. If
Especially, like,
it meant
Dubai.
moving to Dubai,
No,
no.
not the
It's crazy because, especially, yeah, like I forgot how I was talking to about this, but it's like you can, if you earn $100 million
Yeah.
in Australia, you'll pay like 40 in tax.
Yeah.
And still, people I know who have made that much didn't move to Dubai because it's like they would not get paid $40 million to live there for a few years.
Yeah.
Wild.
There's some other countries like Puerto Rico and
Puerto Rico would be cool. Is that where Logan Paul is?
yeah.
Dodgy fucking bastard.
There's also, I was talking to someone that just bought a house next to him in Puerto Rico.
Oh, really?
I'll bleep his name out. It's a guy named. He's young. He's very young. He's from
Puerto Rico Ranch would be pretty cool.
Yeah, I think that'd be pretty cool. I wouldn't
Beachfront.
mind that.
Yeah.
Panama?
But also, I don't want money to consume my life so much so that I move to an entirely different country just to pay tax. So we've recently, we've had like lawyers and accountants. We've been talking to a bunch of the team, and they were saying like, yeah, you guys should move to Dubai. And partly the reason why we took everyone to Dubai last year was like, yeah, this is like, you can check it out and see if that's something you want to do. And I think not a single person, maybe one or two, but like most people were like, no, I would rather pay, the 50%. I'd rather give away half my money and live in a wholesome place like Australia than having to.
You'll find out who an absolute savage is in the office. Is like, I want as much money as I can get. Like,
Yeah.
like I'm moving.
So yeah, I think I'm just going to stay here in Australia. I like Melbourne. Melbourne's nice.
So the thing about Dubai is I feel like because it's a predominantly Muslim country, it's perceived that there's no alcohol, there's no drugs, there's no like kind of, what's the word? Like
Degeneracy.
degeneracy.
And there definitely is in Dubai. If you go into some stricter areas, there's less of that. And it's not, like you said, like they're not going to promote that for tourism, but like the influencers are indirectly like promoting that, saying, come here, like the parties are crazy. It's just like, I'm just like thinking about some of the things that happen in Dubai, and it is like, yeah.
So what's it like? Like, what's it? How hard is it to like go to a bar and get a beer?
No, it's super easy.
Is it more expensive there? Like
Yes.
drinks and drugs?
Every that place is just so expensive. I could see lifestyle creep being a serious thing in Dubai, especially just because, we were at a lunch and, I think our bill for lunch was $4,000 or $5,000 and it was a normal lunch.
And you meant to just be like, okay.
It was for like 4 or 5 of us. And so like lunch was kind of crazy.
Did you drink?
We drank a little bit, but like it wasn't that much. We had a lot of good food.
It was
But
a fancy
$5,000.
restaurant though, right? Like a Nobu
it was like a
spec sort of
beach
thing.
club, but it wasn't like a known. It wasn't like a
Do
Nobu.
you
or
reckon you
something.
could eat $1,000 worth of food at Nobu? I don't think I could.
No,
I think you
no
guys
way.
have. But yeah, so like, so we're at an expensive lunch, and then like you're talking to other like, because everyone there is predominantly wealthy, and so they're like, hey, do you want to come to this? Like they were like, Black Coffee was playing that weekend. They're like, oh, we'll get a table there, we'll split it each, 5 each, whatever.
And like 5 what?
So like already it's like, because you're hanging out with those type of people, and I could just see like for me to live there comfortably, I would need a lot more money.
That's like talking. I'm not sure if we're allowed to say his name, but saying he's got an R8 in Dubai, and he feels like showing up to the car meets like he's got the shittest car there.
Yeah.
Which is crazy.
Yeah, we have a lot of friends that live in Dubai, and they all have like supercars and stuff, and you legitimately can't. It's like a lot easier to buy cars there because
Is there less tax or something?
I don't think there's luxury car tax. I don't know if producer Lincoln, you know about this, but there's no. I don't think there's luxury car tax, and also since you're paying zero taxes, that if you make $1 million a year, now you can spend
You've
half
got
of
double
that.
the spending.
Yeah, you can really get something there. So yeah, I think the definitive answer from all 3 of us is that we wouldn't move to a
Definitely not.
new country, especially something like Dubai, for zero taxes. I'd rather pay. I'm more than happy paying the 45% tax and living here.
The only scenario I would do it is if I was like an athlete, like tennis player, F1 driver, because it only makes sense for them because they're
traveling
They're
all the time,
traveling
right?
all the time. So a lot of them go to Monaco, but
Yeah,
they're
I
not
think
actually.
Novak Djokovic still plays in Monaco.
Yeah, a lot of people.
Wait, I didn't know this. So is it solely just because they're like
Because
touring
they
artists?
never live anywhere.
Yeah.
Oh,
Monaco's so expensive as well, but they just get like a small 1-bedroom apartment.
Because they're winning, a mill in the Chinese Open, and they,
Yeah.
they want to pay American taxes or Australian taxes on that. Fuck it.
I don't
This
think
is
they let you
similar to,
leave
like-
with that money.
This is similar to like poker players.
Yeah.
They go touring all the time, doing tournaments in, a different country every week. They make sometimes a lot of money. And we meet quite a few poker players through work, and yeah.
Where
no,
do a lot of the poker players have residency? Is it? But Vegas has got like not terrible tax.
Well, they've got. I used to work with an ex-professional poker player who then started working as a consultant. He was like really like great guy, and just I think at school he was like, I don't like school that much. I want to get into something else, and then started playing poker and was really good at it. And he got picked up for a stable, which is where they basically fly you out to Vegas, I think based on your online poker performance.
Right.
And you live in a house with like 6 or 7 other pro poker players.
Yes. Yeah.
And you just play online 24/7. Like you're pissing in a jug, you're getting meals brought to you. And he said the problem was like you playing online, you're pretty much executing an algorithm. Right. And when you're in person, there's a little bit more of like, oh, I can tell Ishan like twitches his fingers when he's got a good hand.
There's
all that
tells.
bullshit.
They call it tells.
And that gives you much more of an edge, I feel. And then he was in the stable, and he said he ended up making like, it was about $100,000 a year, but it's really stressful because the stable owner loans you money to play with. And sometimes you can be down $100,000, up 300, whatever, just like this constant volatile thing. But because it's like the law of big numbers or whatever, and the law of averages, and it just like you end up making about $100,000 a year. And he's like, it just wasn't worth it for the stress and like this horrible lifestyle. Like you can't date, it doesn't really go out. Like you're up till 4 a.m. every night. It's just
I felt disgusting. Yeah. I was never like a professional, but I used to play poker a lot, and it was like a very disgusting and stressful lifestyle. I couldn't imagine doing it, for a living or living with other people, and that's all you do is play poker.
Yeah.
That's kind of, if you love it, I mean, that's all these like skill sets, or I don't know skill sets, but all these people that are good at one thing usually share a house, like Misfits and Revolt, whatever. That was like an example, like so creator houses or like, I wonder what other houses there are. Like people.
There's lots of content houses, and then I don't know.
Are there still content houses? I haven't noticed.
I think they fell off.
Yeah.
TikTok's like, no, fucking. Yeah.
I thought we were going to start one.
A shuffle one?
Yeah.
I'm still down for that. Yeah.
I'm still down. We just need to find I want to find like a cool mansion that has a pool and,
Dude, if you're paying for
a couple
it.
blocks of
I said I'll pay the majority of it.
There's also like, I've seen people do, like similar to what you guys would do is like you're working all the time with these people who are your friends, and you like buy, maybe it's in like one of those 1-story apartment buildings where it's just like a couple in a row or whatever.
Yeah.
And then like you guys buy 3 of the 4 or something. And then you can like kind of, you're always going in between each other's houses working. Like it's almost like you make your own co-working space, and then you don't need an office.
I've never seen that executed.
I've seen it done in like other countries. I feel like people do it. Like it's that hippie, like digital nomad kind of feel, I think. But it seems fun. Yeah. Then, also you kind of need a break from work every now and then. And you're like, do I want to be talking about my job 24/7 with these people? Like, I don't know.
I think you go through some modes in life. Like I'm assuming when you guys were doing all the merch stuff together, like that was your life, right? Like
it was great. It was like crack. It was so good. Just every day, just bam, 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 Discord, dopamine, go.
I feel like that's kind of what it's like right now with us at Shuffle. But you're right. Like you need a balance, otherwise you're gonna burn out and go crazy and do some crazy things. Like take Zins, 11 gram Zins. We're not sponsored. Is that in the frame?
I would like to thank today's sponsor, Zin.
They are not paying us for that.
I messaged you about this last week, but on the topic of all that, I just discovered tiny homes recently.
You've just discovered that?
I heard of them before, but
you've been looking into it?
Yeah, and during like COVID lockdowns, I think everyone was watching, or a lot of people were watching, videos on tiny homes. And I was looking at it and I was like, all these people seem really happy and they're not putting it on.
Yeah. Okay.
And they've just got these simple little houses, but they've got a big block of land to do all these activities. They have no mortgage, no real financial worries. They could lose the money that they have and they'd still be all right. They still own their house.
Didn't Elon Musk move into one?
I think so. Yeah. Either a boxable or he's just got like some small house.
Is it boxable? What? It's like that startup.
Yeah. And I just, for years I've sort of wanted, similar to you, like a good amount of money.
Yeah.
To feel safe and secure. But honestly, like I had no sort of goal in mind. And I was like, the idea of eventually buying like some big home that'll mostly be empty and like, whoever's living in it will be in their separate rooms and not really like congregating, and that just doesn't sound too fun.
Yeah. No.
And so now I want a ranch with a tiny home.
That'd be epic. That'd be fucking epic.
I kind of like view, I want to live like my life in stages. So like during this period where, I'm young and doing like work's kind of my life. I think like a big city, like, we're in a city office and all that stuff. Like, I think that's the hustle and bustle. I'm fine with that. And then like maybe when you settle down is like when you can go and live out on a ranch or
Definitely.
I don't know. I like keep it fluid, whatever floats your boat. How much is a tiny home? Do you know?
Oh, they vary, but like if you're going to pay someone to build you one, you can get one for like 100 grand, 130.
Yeah.
Plus solar and water tanks is another 20 grand. Like it's pretty reasonable, I think. I mean, but yeah, here in Victoria where we live, it's like really hard to do it because councils don't like it. I think, they can look pretty disorganized and pretty ugly sometimes.
Right. This would be cheaper in a lot of cases than the current like housing situation in Australia.
Yeah. I mean, if you
Like
can find...
renting or buying is...
That's what I'm saying.
Would you have one in the city or out? In the city, it'd be really weird.
It'd be really weird.
Yeah.
And again, I don't think councils will allow it. But I think for young people our age, especially if you haven't made a lot of money yet, like it's nice to see, tiny homes and see, all right, well, that's something I could achieve rather than,
Not a normal sized home. We can get by a tiny one.
Yeah.
Wait, sorry. Can I tell you about how you mentioned something earlier and I was like, I can't do that. But you had like you wanted to do trading on the podcast. And then I mentioned that I can't do that because I'm going through something right now. So there's groups out there funding Facebook and Instagram, like meta ads, using my face to promote scams. And at scale, they're making a lot of money. And I get at least like a dozen messages a day saying, like, I just sent money to you. Is this really you? Is this fake? Blah, blah, blah.
Really?
And a lot of people have gotten scammed.
So that people are falling for it.
A lot of people are
If
falling
you look up
for
your
it.
name on TikTok or Instagram, there's like 40 accounts.
Wow.
The same profile picture.
Yeah, because I stupidly made while I was really bored during like an off period, I made a TikTok where I was like, this is how much money I've made and this is my career and blah, blah, blah. And then people just like rip that.
Yep.
And then like the description is, sign up to in the video, it's funny. In the video, it says, I'll never sell anything.
Right.
But like in the caption, it's like, sign up to my course or whatever. So that's why I was saying I legitimately couldn't do that because someone would clip this podcast of me trading or something.
Yeah.
And then like go join my trading course and just add fuel to the fire.
And like even verified badges now don't matter.
I thought that people would, if you're verified, or like I thought if people would know that if you're getting a message from an account that's not verified, that's probably not the guy. Like you're probably not talking to him.
Yep.
So yeah.
There's two Ishan Haques. Oh, so it looks like they've been like.
So sorry, I already have reported.
Like they've been nerfed because there were maybe 7 last time.
On TikTok, there was hundreds.
This one's got 7,000 followers.
Yeah, but they're probably botting that, right? I'm assuming so. But anyway,
Yeah, they look like bot.
They actually try and match as close as possible the follow account to Ishan's real page.
Wow.
Why are you under attack? This one's got more followers than you, by the way.
yeah, that's crazy.
You're under attack. From
I am under attack.
Scammers.
Speaking of him, this is a little side note that I just want to talk to you, Andre, about because you reminded me. Did you guys see Timothée Chalamet is having a baby with Kylie Jenner?
Wow. No, I didn't.
You didn't see that? Did you know that?
Wow. So from Travis Scott to Timothée Chalamet.
Is that why you sent me that meme earlier today
yeah,
of Chris? Wait, what's her name again? Kris Jenner.
Kris Jenner.
Yeah.
Someone had a photo of Kris Jenner and Kylie Jenner. They were both wearing like scarves, so it looks like they're in a set of Dune. And then the caption was like, the bloodline has been secured, Mother Reverend.
Yeah, the Reverend. They had her as like the Reverend Mother, like Benny Gesserit, like the one that plans all the breeding of
that's
people.
good.
Maybe that was like a nothing burger topic, but I just thought he just seems like a very cute. I used to have a little like man crush on Timothée Chalamet.
Sounds like you still do, bro.
Yeah. I don't know. I just thought about that.
Okay, but I do think we should do trading.
What is that? Is that like
So like we all put in $500 into some
Right.
account and we just pick like maybe Lincoln gets us a list of like 10 stocks. We'll do like the monkeys throwing darts at a board and how it outperformed the you know about that?
Well, no, I don't know about that.
In like I think early 2000s, because the stock market was doing so well, these scientists, I think, got monkeys to throw darts at a dartboard, and each spot on the dartboard corresponded to a stock.
Right.
And the monkeys outperformed the S&P
trader.
500. Yeah.
Well, I don't know if this is like too boring to talk about, but the market is literally it's for the most part random. A lot of people that think they can predict the market, they can't. Not even the smartest people in the world, they are not really predicting the market. They are following what's called like beta, which is just like buy what everyone else is buying, and the general economic trend, if it's up, you're going to make some money. And so like, what you're saying, I totally believe it, because it is so hard to pick stock. I know this is like kind of what my law is, picking companies, and but it's for the most part you just get very lucky.
Right.
That's.
What about investing in like the companies whose products you use? Is that?
I feel like that is like, I think that is like a good strategy for people to do.
It's really tricky though, because like you've got all your own biases. And some people like Nike, some people like Adidas. Adidas might be doing better marketing. Things like, the Kanye stuff happens and it tanks the stock price. And like, there's so many things happening that I think it's pretty impossible to make a lot of money trading stocks. But people do it. But I guess people make money gambling as well. So I don't know. I think it's really tricky.
Wait, is this trading idea like, what's his name?
Like the 10-cent blackjack man?
No, the guy who
I know
reviews
you're right.
pizza.
Barstool.
Yeah, Barstool.
Dave Portnoy.
Yeah, wasn't he doing something like that? Like,
Yeah, he was pretty much gambling.
Yeah. Okay.
No, I think it's a good idea. I just don't want to like I just don't want anyone to like get influenced by it. And then people clipping it and then like using it to like promote scams.
We'll work out a way to do it.
Yeah.
But like talking about investing in what you know, or like what you use. I think that's a good idea. You have to go through the stages of what you're using. Is it something that's like actually publicly available for you to invest in? So you have to search up if it's a public stock or if it's a private company. I think a lot of the cool trending new things that you want to, are you doing it right now?
No, I'm checking I'm checking what my holdings are. Okay,
Can we wait, I don't know if we can do this. Can we talk about what your
Google,
portfolio
Netflix,
is?
Shopify.
Yeah, why not? Absolutely.
Yeah,
You just did.
Yeah. I got Shopify. I bought
is not
that
financial advice.
2 years ago and I'm down 20% still.
I remember you showed me your ASX portfolio once, and it was.
That's dark. That's a dark
You bought
place.
Shopify, 2 years ago? That's peak COVID, right?
Yeah. And that was when like we were using Shopify a lot, and it was, I was like, this is a fantastic product, and it is, and it's continued growing.
It's still
and it's
the
Do
best.
you
amazing.
guys do much invest? So you're showing us your portfolio now, but are you doing it seriously, or is this
No,
like
I haven't
just-
touched this for a while.
Okay.
I was, and then I took the money out and bought a Tesla.
Wait,
Jeez.
that's good. What did you make money on? What was?
It was just like, real like sort of boomer investment strategy, just like index funds, man. But
Oh,
like,
wow, okay.
I don't have any like interest or capability of doing anything beyond index funds. So
Okay.
yeah.
All right, I can't get into it, but I've lost. I think I'm down like 80% or something on. But it just didn't because at the time it was like all my money invested in stocks, and it's pretty much all gone now. But it's not all my money now, so that's all good.
It's weird. We can blend in some of my law with this.
Yeah, let's do it.
But I got started out in just picking stocks, so public company stocks.
And what was your like? Why did you think you could pick them?
I initially didn't. So the way I was in high school, and I had a friend in high school that was buying stocks, and I think his dad was also like into it. So he had he was getting sort of mentored there, and we didn't have any classes to do with how to buy stocks or anything. So I was learning from my friend. So I saw my friend buying stocks, and shout out George, and he he was like, I wanted to get into it because I was doing other internet money things and I had a little bit money from like the Minecraft businesses I was doing. So when
So how old were you at this time?
I was like 15, 16. You know what? I will actually do this. I don't have the file with Lincoln, but I will put up a video on screen of me. I recorded myself in my school uniform going into the bathroom. I was in the toilet. This sounds really wrong, but I was in the bathroom and I was buying my first stock ever, and I thought I'd record it, like document it. And I was like, I was so cringy. I was like, oh my God, I'm buying my first ever stock right now. My heart's racing. And
You're willing to put this up?
I'll put it up on the screen.
And what was the stock, by the way?
So the stock, it was a company called BrainChip. It was an AI.
Yeah, I remember BrainChip.
It was an AI company. This is when BrainChip was worth, I don't know, like $50 million.
This was like NVIDIA vibes when like that was big.
This was in 2016.
The chip thing.
So now AI chips are like the craze now.
Yeah.
So this is 2016. I was like a huge nerd looking into specifically I was looking into spiking neural networks. So it's chips that operate like how your brain operates.
Right.
And so that's why it's called BrainChip. And anyway, I bought the stock. I remember I put, I believe, $1,500 into it. And what I might do as well, I think I still have a post on Hot Copper and Reddit where I'm like, I mentioned my age. I'm like, hi, I'm 16. I have $1,500. I'm about to put in this company. Could you guys like help me, help me with some due diligence on this company? And yeah, anyway, I bought that stock. That went up like 10x. I remember one day and this is like full circle, they signed an agreement with a casino to do like detection on like blackjack cards and to see if people are cheating and if the dealer is correctly dealing out. And when they made that agreement, the company went up 150% in one day.
Wow.
So that was my first time. Like I remember going home, like that day, my position was worth $5,000. And when I went back home, it was like $11,000. I remember like
that really gets you addicted. It's like going to the casino first time and you like have a massive winning streak. You're like, oh, this is just printing money.
Yeah, like I was gambling in a way. Like I did an extraordinary amount of due diligence on this company that I don't think I've done to this date on any other investments. And I don't think going forward, I would never do that much due diligence. I did it's insane. All of my research is public. If you go on Hot Copper, my username is Mr. Silicon Valley. For that year, I was the most upvoted user account. And I was like 15, 16. And everyone on Hot Copper, which is an Australian stock market forum, they're like 40, 50, 60 years old.
But you get, it's amazing. And I think Hot Copper is a fantastic resource if you guys are interested in getting into it because it's not just.
Did you use it?
Yeah, I was a reader though. I like never posted. Yeah, it's not just your average punter on there. Everyone, hedge funds, massive banks, they're all reading and posting in there.
I'll give a shout out
really
to a guy named. I actually, when I was raising money for a fund, I got a meeting. He was like a guy that worked at. Maybe I might bleep that out, but I met him through Hot Copper. So he was like this, I think he's like 45. I'm sorry, if you're younger.
Yeah, he's actually 24. That's what investment banking does to you.
But like we were connected for years and he didn't know I was like a 16-year-old prepubescent.
So he was actually grooming a 16-year-old.
I'll definitely bleep out every single name now. But yeah, so Hot Copper, it's not just retail, what we call retail punters, retail meaning like everyday people that don't do it for a living. There are institutional people on it. I'd say there's probably more institutional people on it. Now they're not discussing it in a proper way. You'll get a lot of, this is how this is their downtime. When they're not, doing
talking
their
shit.
work. This is their talking shit about stocks that their clients are in or whatnot. Anyway, so that was like my first stock. That ended up becoming $1 billion company. I don't know what it's worth now. I think it's worth 1-2 billion, unless it's done really shit. I haven't checked it. I haven't checked it. But that was my first stock. I did that, and that gave me like a lot of lessons of losing a bunch of money, winning a bunch of money at that sort of size and scale. It's only a couple $1,000s, but when you're like 16,
poker's good for that as well.
Poker's really. Yeah. I mean, I also at the same time got really into poker because what did I do with that money? I played a lot of poker.
Yeah.
At that point, it was just home poker, but as soon as I turned 18, I started going to the casinos and playing games there, like cash games there. And I wouldn't play like crazy money, but like a couple $1,000.
I hate playing casinos.
Like,
we should do Aussie Millions when it's coming.
We are 100% doing Aussie Millions. Yeah. Fun. And then I went through this period where I found out about margin trading. Now, for people listening that don't know what margin trading is if you have $100 and you put into a stock, it goes up 100%. You've made $100 profit. So total, you now have $200. So you've doubled your money. If you're margin trading, or what some people call leverage trading, you put in $100, you're effectively borrowing extra money so that your profit or your losses is maximized or extended. So if I did 10x leverage with $100, I'm really buying $1,000 worth. And so if it doubled, I put in $100 of my own money, it doubles, I'm doubling the $1,000. So my profit would be, $1,000. So
and you only have to pay them back 100, right?
Yeah. So like you're only exposed with the borrowed money, but you're only putting in a fraction of the upfront capital. So I started doing that, and that got kind of out of hand.
It's really, really like I used to use this one called Plus 500, which is a complete scam, by the way.
Oh wow,
that was my like intro to stock trading was Plus.
Was that
500.
like FX? Were you doing FX?
Yeah,
stuff?
I was trading like oil,
like
and
gold oil.
Yeah, it was gold at like 1,000x leverage with like $10,
insane.
and then it would tick every second. And basically your $10 would either triple or disappear every time.
It's gambling.
So that was really silly. So Plus 500 is not worth it. It'll just steal your money.
So I wasn't doing FX or gold or like commodities and stuff. I was still doing what I was doing, picking stocks. So public companies, specifically here in Australia. But I would just supercharge my position using margin. And when I say it got out of hand, it in good and bad ways. So, I rode the waves of like Zip and Afterpay and all these there was like a milk boom. So A2 milk. I don't know if you remember that. There was a weed boom. So a bunch of weed stocks. So I remember I turned at that point it was like, I don't know, maybe 8-10 grand. And I rode it up to about like 400 grand. And I was like in uni, at my tail end of uni. I remember shout out Logan here. I remember the day that I was up like 100 grand, I had almost $500,000, and this all happened very quickly. I remember I wore a suit, like we were going out, and I wore a suit to like just get coffee with my friend, and I was like buzzed. I started talking about how I'm gonna like make $1 billion, and like it was like an insane time. Of course, that all unwinded very quickly afterwards, where I think the next day after that, I lost like $200,000.
Oh, return the suit.
Yeah, I had to return the suit. So I went through like that sort of period. And also during this time, if you really want like my deep lore, you can just listen to My First Million podcast. I did an episode there. I helped start that podcast. I was working for a few people. I was making really good money. Like I was like, 20, 21. I think I was making $140K US a year, just like
Not
my
bad.
salary. And so that doesn't include like bonuses or like I was doing investing on the side. So I was making good money. So I could afford taking some of the risks that I was taking at the time. So I did that. And then the transition I made was like a lot of the alpha. So you hear beta and alpha a lot in financial markets. Alpha is when you're making a position that's not correlated to the markets. So you're making an investment that no one else really is,
Right.
and that it's going to return you a lot of money because no one else is really doing it.
It's your edge, effectively, your
It's your
individual edge.
Yeah. And so I think a lot of alpha is found in private companies or like unlisted shares where you can't, there's a lot less access to it. Like people can't buy and sell it every single day, or like retail usually can't access it as much. You have to be like a wholesale. So if you're making a certain amount of salary and you have a certain amount of qualifications, I studied finance in university. You can be a wholesale investor and you can start buying some of this stuff. And yeah, that's how I came across Animoca, and I initially bought the public stock. It got delisted because they were doing stuff in crypto, and Australians don't really like crypto. Yeah. And when they got delisted, I did more research on the company. I increased my conviction in the company, so I was like, let me buy more of this. So you can't just like market buy the stock. It's very different. On CompSec, you go on like your plus 500 CompSec, whatever, and you can just press buy, and it will automatically match you with buyers or sellers for you to buy.
Right.
I had to go to individual people and go to like different third-party secondary platforms is what they call it, to buy shares from people are willing to sell, and you have to negotiate a price. And so it was like a very stressful. It took me a couple of months to do, and that's like the investment I'm most well known for. And like all the numbers are sort of public. Like I put $100,000 into it, and then at the peak, it's valued at $6 billion US. And so my position was worth 8 figures. But I've sold a little bit here and there and stuff like that, but I still hold a lot of it. So there's still like a lot of paper wealth, so to speak, where you're worth this much on paper, but it's not cash in your bank yet.
Yep. And that's probably another interesting thing to talk about is there's quite a lot of people who make a lot of paper wealth.
Yeah.
And I think we're around a lot of people who are very wealthy on paper and
Yeah.
not wealthy in the bank account.
Yeah.
Like, what does that timeline look like for an Animoca? Why didn't you sell?
Yeah.
Why are you still holding?
Yeah.
And what's your kind of trade-off there between liquid and keeping it in?
So for like a general private investment, like into a startup. So I'll talk about general first, and I can go specifically into my personal investments. But generally, when you make an investment into a startup and it's at a pretty small size, so let's say like seed stage, your time horizon should be around 7 years.
Yeah.
You shouldn't be expecting to have your cash liquid until 7 years, because you give the company cash, and so they can, fund growth and grow the company. Then they'll grow it to a certain point. They'll grow a little bit bigger, and they might raise more money from different people at a higher valuation than what you paid for. So on paper, you're up, but it's still paper. You haven't sold it.
Yeah.
And eventually, they get to what people call a liquidity event. Either they get bought out by a bigger company, and if they get bought out, then you get the money from the bigger company that buys the company you invested in, or they'll do an IPO. That's also a certain type of liquidity event where it goes from a private company to a public company, and they sell shares to the public. So in the life cycle that I'm in for that particular investment, let's say it's been like 3 years now, I've been invested, and they're at the stage where they're about to go public. They have plans for a listing. And so that's the reason why I'm holding on, because I'd rather just sell to the public. It's a lot easier. There's less fees. You can click a button and sell, and it's immediately in your bank account. Otherwise, for me to sell right now, I have to, and especially because the size of my investment in this company is now, it's a fairly large size. At the latest valuation, it's 8 figures. So for me to sell that much, I have to find someone relatively wealthy that's willing to buy, 8 figures worth, which is 10 million plus.
And they'll smash you. They'll want a discount.
And they'll want discount. They'll want there's a lot of fees associated, because I'll likely have to find that person through a broker, and then the brokers take like a hefty fee because it's a secondary transaction, and there's just a lot of steps, which I have done already. So I have sold portions of it to secure some money and do some investments, like I've made an investment in Shuffle. But for the overwhelming majority of it, to sell that much, it's just a lot easier if it goes public. Because then you have, likely on day one, there might be, 100 million, 200, 500 million, even $1 billion worth of trading on one day. And if I want to sell, tens of millions worth of my investment, I could easily do that with just market sell. So that's the reason that I'd rather do it that way. And there's plans around that. So I might get my path to liquidity for that particular investment might be a little bit earlier than some. Like that's like maybe year 4, year 5. But generally you should come in with the expectation that you're not going to get liquid until year 7. And at worst case scenario, like year 10.
Takes a fucking long time. And
it takes a long time.
That's if the company doesn't fall apart.
And that's if the company doesn't fall apart. So with every investment you make, you're always taking on risk, and your risk is never zero.
Yep.
It is never zero. You should never go into an investment thinking that I'm so sure of that. Even if you had if you're friends with the person, even if you had some insider information, which is illegal by the way, but you should
not in crypto.
But you should never, think that the risk, just because some information is completely zero, something can always happen. The markets are full of millions of participants and millions of people that have different perspectives of what is good and what's bad. That's why sometimes when companies announce bad news and the stock ends up going up instead of down, you're like, what?
Yeah.
Like I thought bad news means bad news. I thought you're going to lose money. And then vice versa. Sometimes companies can announce they've just signed a big deal with a big company worth this much money, but it goes down. And then when you look into it, it's like, oh, people already knew that they were going to make that, investment and partnership. So it was already priced in. So people were looking for liquidity to sell into when it gets announced.
Right.
And like, unfortunately, like the yuppies are the liquidity for the big guys to sell into.
I guess that's where the alpha comes in though with those things where if you see that Netflix's earnings increase 14% or something and the market was expecting 16 and the stock gets hammered because at a certain point, if the price goes down, people freak out, they sell, it pushes the price down lower than what is like rational from that earnings. Then you can look at that and go, hang on, Netflix stock, that's a bit harsh on Netflix. I'm going to buy that because their earnings were still up. They've got these plans ahead. This is cheap and you can buy. And that's where your kind of edge comes in. But again, that's risk because you're going against the market. You're going against those huge hedge funds and stuff. And there's like quite a lot of like the GameStop to be fucking boring, but that was a massive thing where just a guy was going against the market completely and it worked. But
you have to be conventional. Like you have to be unconventional. You have to go. That's how alpha is generated. It's funny, like alpha's like a meme now. Like it's, but when we say alpha, we don't mean it in that meme context. It's legitimately
mathematic.
Yeah, it's legitimately a financial term. And Netflix is a good example you just brought up because they recently had really good earnings, revenue increase and subscribers increase and blah, blah, blah. But it went down. And I was looking into it. I was like, oh, okay, why did it go down? And also in this case, they beat expectations. So they had estimates of X amount of subscribers or X amount of revenue. And when we say expectations, these are what Wall Street analysts, the people in Wall Street, they have a bunch of monkey people on computers modeling out what they expect a company to do and announce. And so Netflix, in this case, beat those expectations. They did more than what these analysts, hedge fund people predicted. And they still went down because the market is so saturated. People think that they can't gain any more subscribers. And so that's why they're like quarter on quarter. It's insane.
Big.
So I think revenue went up dramatically. Subscriber numbers were like up a little bit or down a little bit. I'm not too sure. And then people were like, oh, revenue's just up because they increased pricing. And that's actually a bad signal. If they're thinking now, let's stop acquiring new customers and just squeeze our existing ones. That's actually the growth story is now gone. And a lot of technology companies are priced and valued on their growth rate. And so I think, I don't know, maybe people might
just on the risks of investing, companies are also run by people. And I think it's like quite something to look at is like the board or the CEO, whoever of the companies. And when they're public, this is all listed and whatever. But you should look at them as if like you were going to hire them and whether they were qualified to do the job that you want them to do. And it's ironic that the podcast is underqualified, but usually with these kind of like, A2 milk or something, it's like you need some guy who's got 20 years in the business and that kind of stuff. But I was invested in a company called Dubba, which was
Dubba,
Dubba. They were
DUB,
and they were trying to replace Cisco, like those phones in offices, right? And they were doing quite well, and they'd got some partnership deals with can't remember, like a couple of big, like IBM or something.
Thorny invested in them, right?
Thorny gave them a big backing, and
I use that software. There's like answering machine fucking like phone VoIP thing. Yeah,
I think so. Yeah. And they had I think 24 mil in the bank, and everything was pretty good. Obviously, the tech boom and the crash. My position was not doing well, but it was like I think I was up 5x at a certain point, sold a bit, kept it, and then it's like terrible now. But the guy who runs the company just took the 24 mil.
What's the market cap of Dubbo right now? It's
Jesus, it's not looking good. They've been hammered. Yeah.
Is that 54 million? Is that what that says?
The entire market. We might make that this month at Shuffle. Their entire market cap.
Sorry, Dubba. Yeah, but the CEO was like, oh, fuck it, I'm just taking that 24 mil. And it just disappeared with his lawyer.
Wait, no, wait. Are you saying that there was like theft?
Like if you look it up. It's,
wait, is this a real thing? No way. This is a real thing.
So apparently they're No, like, this might need to be. This might need to be bleeped out.
This is not real.
No, look it up. So there, he offered to shareholders that the 24 mil. He was like, "Look, it's just sitting in the bank, guys. My lawyer has a really good like long-term like term deposit thing, and that is a massive red flag that they're not using 24 mil of investor money to grow the business." And it just got sent to this term deposit thing, and it cannot get found. So that they've had to raise 24 million again. He's stepped down. And then I think there's going to be like a legal investigation because it's like, where did that money go?
Yeah. All right, I need to look into that.
There you go. Companies hunting for its missing $30 million.
No.
Yeah.
What? How did I not hear about
So
this?
yeah, this kind of shit happens in a company that like the technology's good. It hasn't been doing well recently, but
Is the technology still good though? Like,
I don't know. I invested like 6 years ago, so I don't give a shit.
Okay, this is wild. This is yeah, okay.
But yeah, people do crazy shit. And this is like, you know, one of those
That's a financial
1%
crime.
things that they committed crime and there's stock. But it's one of the reasons why you like maybe don't put all your eggs in one basket kind of thing.
So another thing is going along with what you're saying, you should look at the management and see how much of the company they own. So a lot of CEOs get put in place into these big companies. It gets to a point where it's established and the founding CEO is like, all right, I'm out of the business, and they hire someone else. And then usually like they just pay a CEO a salary, or they might give them like a very tiny equity stake, or so anyways, the person running the ship doesn't have incentive anymore to really grow the stock price. Their incentive is just to kind of just do well enough to keep their job so that they can get their salary, or they can get like their free shares. If they're getting free shares, that's not tied to performance hurdles.
Yep.
That's also like a pretty, that's a red flag. So I don't know, that's something to think about. That's one of the first things I do when I look into a company, whether I was investing in Shuffle or Animoca or some of these other ones. I kind of look at the cap table and see, okay, who are the people in charge and how much do they own? And is it I look at their current like life as well and their lifestyle. Now this isn't always accurate, but generally you want the person who's, you know, running the business, that the money that they could make is going to, it's like going to change their life, or it's something that they're chasing after. It's something that they need. Otherwise, the incentive is not really there for them to grow the business. They need some incentive. It might not be the money, it might be some other higher purpose or goal. But you need to like just make sure of that that's aligned. But okay, we've talked a bit about stocks and stuff.
Are we not doing any more of your?
I don't know. We've talked a bunch about it. If people can submit questions if they have anything particular.
How long are we at?
No, yeah. Please get out of that. Hey, how long? That's
Cameron said that
my wallpaper.
Ishan had a kid this week
Yeah.
Yes,
You
with a beautiful woman from Dubai.
my wallpaper. No, that's not correct. But yeah, I don't know. I think we spoke about quite a bit today. We're probably like an hour in. Just to really close off, we talked about Dubai and stock market and money and stuff like that. And like just thinking of all that stuff, I would hate to go back to the life I had where all I did was like look at the screen and
I hate
numbers going up and going down. I think, I don't know. Some of us are making a trade-off with, we're doing something for the sake of trying to secure some wealth and stuff. But I think for the most part, we're all doing things now that we enjoy, and it does. There is a financial component to it, but I think a lot of people are not as fortunate, and they're probably working some 9 to 5 or like banking job or consulting, or they're doing something where they might not necessarily want to do it, but they pays them a good salary. And yeah, I don't know. I just think that we got kind of lucky, but we also kind of like forced our way into doing. You can listen to the last episode. Ed and Andre talked about how they kind of like legitimately like forced their way into the positions they're doing now. Like you stream sniped the Suckles, and then you were like on customer support, getting that job at Tipple, and so yeah, I don't know.
Brute force is the word. I've been using that lately, like thinking about my history and that. It's always felt like just brute force things.
Yeah.
And Hamish from Order Editing, guys, shout out to Hamish.
He's in our office right now somewhere.
He is the king of brute force. I feel like he's done the most hustling out of all of us in the last year.
He's done really well.
Sales,
bulldog sales guy, killing it.
Yeah, go on his LinkedIn. That's he's doing, and he's got some really cool content ideas. I think that's like pretty decent. brute force, I think is the word.
Yeah,
I don't
harass people, because there's no like the Tim Ferriss podcast and stuff. They will tell you how to like delicately email someone in something less than 60 seconds and all this kind of stuff. But really, at the end of the day, it's like if you're interviewing for jobs, do 50 interviews. If you're sending emails, send 100, because every single like email you send has maybe a 1% chance of getting a reply, whatever it is. So you can optimize that email or that.
If they haven't been looking at your email, then like just sending another email is another chance for them to look at it. Or they have been looking at emails, but you're just not saying the right thing.
Yeah.
So you can just send a different version, and after a while, a pattern's going to form where they know your email, they know your name, and they're like, okay, finally, let me give this person a chance.
And keep it short, I think, as well.
Yes, keep it short and to the point. Very valuable. Keep it as short as possible.
Yeah.
Use their name in the subject line, like keep it really personalized. That sort
Like,
of
hey, I'm going to offer you a 3-month unpaid intern. Like, I will work for you for 3 months. I've done this, this, and this. See ya.
Yeah.
Have you guys
I
seen that
think,
guy that emailed Evan Spiegel like for a coding internship?
Yeah.
Like, that was
I
really
remember
effective
that.
email.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know if we can find that email, but that was a good email.
There was another guy, listened to a podcast with him this week who was in advertising, and in like early 2000s, Mark Cuban had this like secret email that if you could work out what the email was, he checked it every day. And if you could work out what the email was, he would reply. And anyway, he somehow did like all this digging, all these like weird forums and stuff, found the Mark Cuban email, emailed him, and just like an A4 mock-up of an ad for the Dallas Mavericks, I think.
Right.
Or an ad for something in like a Dallas Mavericks magazine. And then Mark Cuban replied and was like, yeah, that's awesome. And that kind of set up his whole career.
Do you want to know how I got in contact with Mark Cuban when I was 15?
That's crazy.
Because that just reminded me. So obviously, like he just mentioned that story, everyone just thinks, I need to get his email. I need to email him and maybe he'll open it, or I need to get his phone number, blah, blah, blah. But those are like the most sought after channels to try and reach him. And so I was like, I need something different. So what I did was, there's a site called Crunchbase. Crunchbase allows you to see what influential people are investing in, what companies are investing in. And I used to just scour that website. And I saw that he invested in a company called Cyberdust, I believe. And Cyberdust was a messaging app. And so it was brand new. He invested in the seed round. And I signed up to it. And I was like, all right, his username is probably just Mark or like M Cuban or whatever. I did all the variations. I found his account because he doesn't get a lot of messages on there because it literally just launched and it didn't have like a big fancy launch or anything.
Yeah.
So I messaged him on there like, hi, I'm 15. I'm interested in business, blah, blah, blah. And immediately, it was literally 2 minutes later, he responded to me. And he was like, hey, what's up, man? In the message I told him I found it through Crunchbase. And he's like, that's very smart thinking for your age. And I was like, oh, I really want to start a business and like a company, a tech company. I'd love for you to invest in it. And he was like, shoot me your idea. And then this is where I fucked up. And Andre, it's what you said before. I obviously saw that and I was like, oh my God, a billion. I was 15. It's a billionaire. This is my time.
Yep.
I sent back the longest message that you could ever send to someone. Like, it was legitimately like 2,000 words of a business idea of like, I think it was, this was back when I was using TeamSpeak a lot to chat to. So I was like, just a better version
After
of
the
TeamSpeak.
Minecraft days, right? Because that's
Yeah.
for, yeah.
So it was like a better version of TeamSpeak and like something that's more sort of to gamers. And
not a bad, like a
better version
Discord is now.
yeah.
Like,
that's what Discord. Oh, there's. I also have a tweet. I watched Discord launch and I tweeted at Jason, who and he replied back to me on Twitter. I'm gonna put that on the screen.
Is Jason the founder?
The founder of Discord.
Right, cool.
Because when I saw that happen, I was like, that was my idea. But anyway, I sent back that long message and I just saw red and he just never responded to it.
Oh, you should message him now. Get the app again. See if he's still on it.
Was it? That app is no longer available.
Yeah.
I think it's probably. I don't know. Cyberdust. You could look it up. It was like a signal.
Yeah, just
type
message
thing.
me on Cyberdust.
Yeah, I can see why that didn't work out. Sorry, Mark Cuban.
Sorry, Mark.
But yeah, I don't know. That's a nice little clip.
Yeah.
All right. So what about the future? What's you had the Dubai trip. What's kind of coming up the next few weeks for you guys?
A few rich guys.
Well,
rich guys.
for us, we actually have a big sort of month just like at Shuffle in terms of signing new like interesting partners. I got off a call this morning with a agent in Hollywood. about talking about us sponsoring some really big. It's weird. Like now we're at the point where we have enough money to start.
Because they're not that expensive, and I thought this is something we can talk about.
Well, the people we were talking about were super expensive.
Well, because we were talking. I won't say what company this was for, but we're talking to an agent as well, and they were going to promote and partner in an alcohol company, not grog, and they were talking to I think and a couple about randomly, it was just some random agent, right? And it was like $1 million for a year, and he'd take 10% of the company.
Oh wow, okay, that's actually not
kind of wasn't
too bad.
It was also it's do we want? I don't know.
That's what I was thinking.
Yeah, what about?
I'm gonna bleep out some of the names for what I'm about to say, but yeah. So we got off a call with in LA. They're now doing some of our influencer partnerships, and so some of the names we're looking at right now. That's going to be at the minimum 3 to 4 million. For 12 months, which I think is pretty expensive.
Does he gamble?
Yeah, he does. He's created content before gambling.
I imagine he'd play poker
at a land
as well,
casino.
right?
And yes, he plays poker as well.
Yeah, he looks like the type. Again.
That's another one.
Wow.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
So yeah, some of the names that I'm bleeping it out for the podcast, but you can see based on these are household names, right? Some form.
Sick.
You've got a really famous rap producer, really famous rapper.
Yeah.
You've got what else?
A really famous DJ.
Super famous DJ, super famous rapper.
They're all probably in their categories, the A-list.
And really talked about right now. It's
yes,
not
very relevant people. The price, when they were talking about the stuff that's going on with them, and they were the price is up because of that. So yeah, we'll see. But that's pretty exciting for Shuffle. In terms of traveling for Shuffle, I might have to go to Manila in the Philippines.
Oh, I've heard Philippines is awesome.
Yeah. I think it'd be a cool little trip. Might have to go to Malta again. Got an Amsterdam trip upcoming.
This is all in the next few months? Or?
This is all in the next few months, yeah.
Is this by yourself or with others?
For the most part by myself.
Wow.
But maybe I can take someone.
Alone business trips are the worst.
They are the worst.
What's coming up with you, Andre?
Oh, dude, nothing. I'm just still recovering from being a sick idiot, so I have no stories.
You're not an idiot, Andre.
I'm not an idiot, but
you're just not feeling up to. Well, this is but we all have these periods where you just don't feel.
It's not a period. It's just you don't look after yourself, and you're not
work too hard
self-aware at a certain period of time, and you get long COVID, and you basically have the energy of a 90-year-old man.
Yeah,
we should dive more into that. You're a solopreneur.
Yeah, I mean,
let's talk about how you've stretched yourself.
Do you want to talk about that a little bit now?
Yeah.
I mean,
if you're happy to.
I won't dig too deep into it, but I think a lot of sort of entrepreneurial people, they often have ADHD, right? Now, for my case, starting the merchandise company, the business, there's a lot of administrative tasks, a lot of boring fucking tasks that I don't want to do alongside the stuff that I really do want to do.
Yeah.
And with ADHD, that stuff you tend to procrastinate on a lot. And often that stuff is super important, financial stuff, tax related stuff, and even just certain key milestones that will get you to completing key parts of projects. Anyway, that can cause a lot of stress if that starts to pile up, all those sort of unfinished tasks. And I think, sustained and prolonged stress can create an environment in your body to get sick.
Yeah.
And so last year I got probably COVID or some other terrible virus twice. And in between that, I was getting sick every month. And then last October, when I had a really bad virus, I just did not recover. And I would go for a walk or a run, and I would be in bed for a week afterwards. Yeah, they call it
I think when I moved here, I didn't see you for a month or something.
Right.
You were gone. You're out,
dude. Yeah. A lot of people they call it the invisible illness because I look fine right now, but after this, I'm going to go home and sleep and just rest for.
And
a
you
few
just
hours.
don't feel like getting up and stuff like that.
Feel awful. It's just that it's so surreal because I feel physically there's nothing wrong with me. I could probably go and run 5Ks right now. I would be bedridden for 2 weeks after that. And I'd have just trouble breathing and everything. So
It's
thanks
crazy.
COVID. But
Sad to hear that, Andre. And this is, but I think it's good that people like we talk about all this like money and all like all this fun up stuff, and
yeah,
I think it's good for people to hear that, you know, like it's not all.
And I think at our old, when we
opportunities,
worked
right?
together, we were in a very, you weren't switched off. And I feel like it was our first time doing that kind of work where you're getting Discord messages from 8 a.m. to midnight and you're at dinner with your girlfriend, you're doing this, you're doing that. And you're constantly, at least half your brain's thinking about work.
Definitely.
Of like, we got this t-shirt to release, we got this. And then you don't look after yourself. Like I didn't meditate or do yoga or exercise really for 2 years. You like cut corners on eating, you'd stop going to the gym, all that stuff. And you just slowly like put all your energy and effort into work. And then that builds that stressful environment in your body. And then that's when you're just fucked. And I have the same thing with like grog. It's like pretty solo, like in terms of running the company and things like more so responsibilities that are things like you can't necessarily action and they're just looming. Or, you know, if there's like issues with cash flow or legal troubles or anything like that, having to fire people, really stressful. And if you don't have an outlet or a way to deal with it, especially if it's been built up like we had it at our old employment place, it's like it takes a while to fucking it'll hit you like a train and like you can't get out of bed or whatever it is, however it hits you. Some people get immune issues, some people get migraines, some people get depressed, anxious, whatever.
Yes.
And if you don't have like you've got this build up and you got to like really work on getting rid of that and then having a healthy like, all right, I'm gonna at 5 o'clock, my phone goes off. I'm going for a walk. I'm going to hang out with my dog, like whatever that thing is. And then, so how have you found, like, what is your, if someone's listening to this now, they feel disconnected, unmotivated, they're making money, they're doing quite well, or they're at a job they just hate. And on paper, physically fine, job's doing well. They've got the things that they wanted and they're not satisfying. They're not feeling connected. What is your like recipe that you've found got you more so out of that rut than, because would you say you're better than you were 3 months ago?
definitely better.
Yeah.
And I'm definitely like, I think, I cross my fingers and God hope that I'll be fully recovered in a month with, a little procedure and that sort of thing. But I think, just really listen to your body a lot more. Don't be in your head all the time.
Yeah.
Don't always be trying to think things through. Just follow your intuition. And if you don't feel like you have a great intuition, then figure out how to get one. Because and for some people, that's yoga and meditation and various
It's going to be different
things.
for
Everyone. Yeah. Everyone's had different upbringings and different nature and different nurture and that sort of thing. But yeah, I would just cultivate good feelings within yourself before you try to do anything in the world. The issue's been caused by a virus, but then the actual root cause was like just, stress and that sort of thing. So I do have like a neurological problem that needs to be fixed.
That's good.
But we're getting there. So yeah, it's
We're rooting for you, Andre.
thanks, man.
So what are some of the things you've tried and what worked and what didn't?
like yoga is a big one. We've talked about that. We both do it.
What about acupuncture? That was
I've tried it. I thought it was working for a little bit, but honestly, I think it was just the yoga. Yeah. And then I'm going to get this like nerve block procedure, which will probably just completely fix it. Because basically, the body still thinks I'm sick. And so it's sending me signals of fatigue and all that sort of thing. And so you can just sort of get anesthetic injected into you in this bundle of nerves.
That
and
is-
it's like
that is
reset.
wild.
It's like,
Yeah.
it's like if your body's not functioning, this is a way to reboot it. You just need to, turn it off and on again.
yeah.
So yeah.
It's that fight or flight thing when you're working and you're hustling and you're around everyone and you're working really hard and it's fun and it feels great. Like you're just getting all this dopamine and then I think at a certain point that dam of dopamine goes to zero and it takes a really long time to get it like functioning again normally.
Definitely.
Yeah, I do think sometimes like I'm like, oh, like we all do like, pretty high stress, work and job and like, and like for us, it's like, I know maybe you guys have your own opinions, but I do think like some of the work I do is fulfilling, but I think the most fulfilling work is probably if you're like living a calm, peaceful life, maybe creating art for others to consume or for yourself
planting
to do.
plants or
Yeah,
something.
I think that's probably the most fulfilling work in the world. And those are the people that live the happiest lives, not business people who are looking at numbers or doing administrative tasks and stuff like that. So I think that's a little burden. That's the trade-off that we're making.
Because we've like wired ourselves, and I think we've all done the same thing. But like any downtime, even with school or whatever, it was like working on a side hustle or working on this, working on that. And then you become like, you kind of disconnect with things that you almost like find fun, like silly stuff. And you kind of stop doing them because you're like, oh no, I've got to be productive. I've got to research stocks. I've got to make money. I've got to get to this like number for comfort or to whatever, to provide for my family and my girlfriend, like a nice house, all that kind of stuff. And then you're like, oh, yeah, I did actually really like playing basketball with my friends, or like whatever these things are. And they kind of just go out the window. And then you think fun is work, and then work burns you out.
Yeah, that's something I've been thinking a lot about recently as well, which is like, you know, if you live in the first world and you have an abundance of opportunities, and we're so lucky to have that, doesn't matter how old you are. Like I feel like I always want to, or at least now I want to focus on, you know, always trying to do things that make me feel like I'm a child who's playing.
Yeah.
Just like be a kid who's playing. That's it. I feel like if you look at like, you think of the most successful people in the world, like an Elon Musk type, he looks like he's just having fun. You know, he probably isn't all the time, but you know.
I would argue that he's really miserable.
Yeah,
like, I don't think that's a life.
I think that's public that he is, but
yeah, like 7 wives and like 7 kids, and he's like he's definitely like a shitty father and a shitty husband.
called out.
And
Cool. Elon, fuck you.
like I don't think he actually lives a happy life whatsoever.
Right.
But I think he has moments where he's like having like a rocket just successfully landed back, and I think he has moments of, oh my god, like the work I'm doing is so fulfilling. It's helping people, and it is fun. But I do think like he's chosen. Yeah, that like I think people like him. It's like it's all trade-offs.
But my point is, though, is that the things that he's doing now, he probably was doing when he was like 5-10 years old. Like he was programming back
playing
then,
with
playing with rockets, just like be a kid.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, try and stay true to yourself.
It's a big thing, I think. And losing touch with that, it's hard to, the further away you get from it, and the more into work you get, the harder it is to like relax and let your body, you know, like chill out and like, all right, I'm going to go for a fucking, everything's discipline. It's like, I'm going to run, I'm going to eat clean, I'm going to go to the gym, I'm going to do this. Yes. And then you don't have fun anymore. But then like, you know, there's good things like friends, going out for drinks. That's all fun.
Friends are good.
Friends are good.
What are like the 3 most important things to you guys that would bring you the most happiness?
It's tricky.
Because then, like, and then, are you like optimizing?
we
for
all don't know the answer.
Like, I would think that I think you're probably the most important thing in your life should be like maybe like your loved one.
Yeah, absolutely.
And
Family
then,
is
like,
very important.
You know, your girlfriend or your wife, the kids that you have together, your extended family, and then your friends, hang out with your friends. I do think work plays a role in your happiness. Like you have to be doing something fulfilling. Or at least, and fulfillment can come in different ways. I think the ultimate fulfillment is maybe like if you're helping other people, but fulfillment can come in another way of you're really good at the thing you're doing. And so you just feel like, oh, like I was put on this earth to do this. And you mentioned last episode where you wanted to do talent management, but then you got placed in merch, doing merch stuff. And you're like, actually, you know what? I was really good at this stuff and I'm glad I was put there because I've like shined in that area, and you probably felt good when you were doing good work. So I think fulfillment can come in a few ways like that.
It's definitely not money in the bank.
No.
Because no amount, and I think you find this as well, like playing poker, trading stocks, whatever it is, money becomes kind of just fun tokens or stress tokens.
It's numbers on a screen.
If it's 10 grand and like you're 16, you're like, bang, huge, I've hit this thing. And then guess what? You just go, oh, I want 100 now. I want $1 million. I want 10 million.
It is insane how like, I'm sure we all feel this way now. Like this, like the number that we want or we feel, it just keeps going up. And then I think we kind of all just realized, and it just comes with maturity and age, but we've realized like this is probably never going to stop. Like the numbers are going to keep going up, and like, and it's either you achieve them or you start hanging around with people that have achieved them, and now you're like, you compare yourself to a new baseline of, you know, like I used to think $1 million was a lot. Then you get $1 million, and I used to think 10 was a lot. Now I want 50. Now I want 100, and
yeah, like it's disgusting. You know, like $1 million is like, that's not enough for me, you know. But it's like
it's insane.
If you're living on a tiny house, planning your own food, like you've got a car, you've got a wife and some kids, like I think $1 million would go fucking far. So that's the thing about like reorienting your lifestyle. Like, no, I don't actually need oh, I've got a Mercedes, I need an AMG, I've got I'm flying premium economy, I need to be going business. And like it just scales up, and the world is built to kind of scale to your wealth. No matter how rich you are, there's always going to be a more limited handbag. There's always going to be a more expensive jet that someone else has got that you want. There's always going to be this. And it's pretty, it's a real trap if you really tie your like fulfillment and motivation towards a number of wealth and things, because we've all been around people who have all the things and are very unhappy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And to answer your question before, the three things, what was it again? The three
things that like make you like, like what are your priorities?
Yeah,
like what that would make you happy? And
I'm not there in any of these areas right now, but I think it's a pretty common saying, which is a calm mind, a fit body, and a house full of love. Those are the three things, right? And
that's all you need.
That's all you need. Everything else is a surplus and just a benefit.
That's a good way to end the podcast, I think. Wow, we got pretty deep this episode. Yeah, let's do some zins now. Is that? I only want to do the strong stuff. I'm
gonna do the one I did before.
How many seconds though?
I'm gonna do 30 seconds.
Do 40. Ed.
All right.
I'll set the timer. Andre, you want one as well?
I think I'll pass.
Just pretend.
I can set a timer for you, mate.
Wait, are we? Wait, so you're just gonna end the podcast with you just doing it zins?
Are you not doing one?
Yeah,
I legitimately won't feel okay if I do one right now.
20 seconds. We're done.
All right, let's put it in.
All right, GG's, guys.
Is it burning?
No, it's actually pretty good.
Oh, you've already
but these Swedish ones really hurt, like the strong ones.
By the way, we're going to do these often now. Because I was traveling and blah blah blah. We went. Oh, take it out. We're going to do these every Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. We're going to try to commit to a day, but you're going to expect an episode a week and hear us talk about random stuff. I think at least for the first couple of episodes, it's just going to be us. And then we're going to start getting some cool people on board.
We're kind of just riding a bike with training wheels at the moment. It's practice.
Yapping practice.
Yapping practice.
All right. Hope everyone's had a good week. We'll see you next week.
Yeah.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.